The Learning Journey, in association with Turn It Up Tuesday, hosted by Russ Audio, presents Did You Know? And this week we want to look at the West Indian migration to England in the 1950s, struggles, contributions, and current issues. Let us take a walk into history in the 1950s. Let us look at what took place. The Windrush Generation, named after the British ship called the Empire Windrush, which brought one of the first set of migrants to England in the 1940s. This generation symbolized the start of significant migration from the Caribbean to UK. This presentation will highlight key factors as it relates to West Indian migration to England in the 1950s and will focus on many things that at times we do not consider. With migration, you always have law, and when it's convenient for some countries to take you in, they do so. And the British Nationality Act of the 1948 did just that. You had the right to live and work in the United Kingdom if you were a Commonwealth citizen. This granted you the permission to enter and live and work. This law facilitated the migration of thousands of West Indians to England in search for better opportunities. Of course, they were on a quest for economic opportunities, and this was seen as a promised land. Yes, the wages that were in England at that time, they were very attractive. They wanted to build the mother country. In primary school, the first aid of English said England was our mother country up to that time, and they wanted to go and help England. They had a sense of duty and loyalty to England, and of course, they thought this would strengthen their bond with England. I use the word thought because at some point in the future, this thought would be somewhat a fantasy based on British rule. But when they came, they had struggles. They had housing problems, housing discrimination. This level of discrimination was reflected in signs that read no black, no Irish, no dog, limiting their access to suitable accommodation. And within the context of the workplace, there was discrimination. There was unequal treatment. There was also low wages, fewer opportunities for promotion, hostile work environment. This discrimination hindered their ability to integrate and succeed in the British society. But within these challenges, they were able to make an economic contribution. They rebuilt England and, of course, played a significant role in ensuring that the society was strong after World War II. Their hard work and determination contributed to the recovery. They also contributed to various industries. Migrants worked in sectors such as healthcare, transportation, manufacturing, filling essential roles and boosting productivity. Let me also say their influence on British music, art, and cuisine is outstanding. West Indian immigrants and their descendants have had a lasting impact on British culture, inspiring genres like ska, reggae, and other music. Their artistic contribution continues to resonate in British culture. And of course, they were very active in the civil rights movement. West Indian migrants and their descendants played a vital role in fighting for racial equality and social justice in England. They were instrumental in forming organizations, participating in movements that sought to end discrimination and promote equality. And although they contributed so much, a crisis would evolve. It would be called the Windrush Crisis. And that caused a lot of problems back in England. You see, what had happened is that the Immigration Act had changed. With the new Immigration Act, many lost automatic citizenship. And many of these individuals who came to England had not applied for certain documentation. And within this context too was a lack of proper documentation. Complicating the issue of their status was that during this time there was a destruction of landing cards and the loss of critical records. And with this crisis came consequences. For example, deportation and detention of people who had the right to work in England back in that time. Loss of access to healthcare, housing, and employment because someone could not track your status. Of course, you had emotional and psychological impact on the Windrush generation and their families. Then came the point of betrayal. Yes, the mother had betrayed her offsprings. It caused a strain on family. Relationships were broken and separation occurred. Uncertainty. There was also the erosion of trust in government and institutions because, after all, these people had rebuilt the country and were now seen as outsiders. There was public outcry and criticism of the UK government. It damaged the reputation of the Home Office and other agencies. Some called it a crisis, some called it a scandal. But whatever they called it, something had to be done. And it had to be done to ensure that those who had built this country were able to stay. And it took a lot. It took demonstration, it took action, it took lawyers, it took so many people working towards making sure that these people's rights were maintained. It took a lot. There was eventually compensation of several £1,000,000, but the damage was already done. For those who were wronged, we must remember their struggles because many of them will come back to the Caribbean to live. But is the Caribbean ready for them? Over to you, Rossi.